Are you ready to take your organization's productivity to new heights? Do you want to gain a competitive edge in today's fast-paced business landscape? Look no further. Center for Public Service Productivity and Development, CeProd, is here to empower you and your team with the tools, knowledge, and support you need to drive success. As a corporate member of CeProd, you'll unlock a world of possibilities. Let's dive into the exciting benefits that await you. Gain access to CeProd's unmatched professionals who will provide you with valuable insights, strategies, and best practices to enhance your organization's productivity. Free monthly lecture series on industry trends to keep you one step ahead. Training and workshops from our comprehensive offerings to empower your workforce to perform at their best. Enjoy exclusive discounts on our range of services so as to maximize your investment and achieve exceptional results while saving on costs. 30% discount on in-plant training sessions customized to meet your organization's unique needs. Gain unlimited access to CeProd's comprehensive e-resource library, which covers research reports, case studies, publications, etc. to fuel your growth. Benchmarking and performance metrics services. Networking opportunities with like-minded professionals, industry leaders, and potential partners. Recognition and awards. Access to a suite of productivity tools, templates, and software to boost your efficiency. Join us at the upcoming Membership Certification Workshop, where you'll gain valuable insights and strategies to drive productivity within your organization. Choose to attend in person at Sheraton Lagos Hotel, Ikeja, Lagos, or join us online via Zoom. Unlock the power of productivity and propel your organization to new heights. Visit our website to learn more about becoming a corporate member of CeProd. Don't wait. Visit www.centerforproductivity.org/CProdMembershipWorkshop.php now and embark on a transformative journey towards enhanced productivity and success. CeProd is here to support you every step of the way. For more info, contact us via info@centerforproductivity.org +234 803 587 8800 +234 802 319 4131. Enroll now.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bassy Nelson, and I want to welcome you all to this month's lecture series on productivity. Prosperity through productivity. And we have with us a distinguished individual who have done exceptionally well in their field of specialization, who will be giving us a lecture on please. Okay, her name is Oluwa Pelumi, and she's a corporate solicitor with 21 years postgraduate experience, a legal management and business consultant working in the business environment and social enterprise sectors as a legal advisor with a startup SME, NGO, and other legal bodies. She is a dynamic force in the corporate legal space. She stands in the intersection of law, leadership, and influence. As a corporate governance practitioner, policy advisor, compliance officer, she brings status, compliance, and strategic insights to organizations that desire a growth with integrity and global standard. As founder of Startup Lawyers and Hub, she has helped startups to scale up their business through a planned growth approach. Beyond legal practice, she is a sought-after corporate trainer, equipped executive, board, and team with knowledge and tools needed to navigate complex corporate environments with confidence and competence. Our voice carries authority not only in boardroom, but also on stage as a seasoned corporate event host, where professionalism meets charisma. A member of Lagos State Courts of Arbitration, as well as a member of a panel of Neutral Dispute Resolution Center, Abuja Chamber of Commerce. She is a certified management consultant, a fellow of Institute of Management Consultant, a fellow of Center for Public Service Productivity and Development, and also an associate member of the Institute of Chartered Secretary and Administrator. She is the managing partner of Real Law firm, Real Corporate Consultant, a full-fledged legal management and business advisor firm in Lagos, offering services to individuals, private firm, NGO, and other corporate bodies and organizations. As an established author and speaker, she transformed legal and corporate knowledge in accessible wisdom, inspiring professionals to lead ethically, think strategically, and order corporate excellence. Some of our recent titles includes corporate governance for startup in Nigeria, from startup to scale up, navigating data, privacy law, compliance, and best practices, the new tax law, and other more. Belumi also loves a providing legal content and tips to enlighten the general public on different areas of law as it pertains to their rights and responsibility. She preferably goes by the Memo Pelumi, Olua Pelumi. She loves to travel, read, write, play basketball, cycle, and garden. She is a minister of the gospel, married to Apostle Elijah F. Oba and other blessed with children. So thank you very much, Olua Pelumi. But before you start, I would like to recognize some distinguished individual on the platform. We have with us Dr. Chris Ebo, who is the DG, and some other distinguished member of CeProd Governing Council. So without waste of time, I would like Mrs. Pelumi take over. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Can we hear me?
Yes, very well.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar titled Boosting Productivity Through Data Privacy Protection and Security Awareness. At this point, I'll say a big thank you to CeProd and to our center director, members of the Governing Council, for this privilege and opportunity to share some thoughts. So without further ado, we will dig right in. I will share my slides shortly. Thank you everyone for joining. You're welcome. Let's dig in. Okay, I believe we can all see my slides. We can all see the screen, rather.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I start in today's digital age. Well, we all know that we can say data is both a blessing and otherwise. And by otherwise, you know what I mean. Of course, on one hand, it fuels growth and innovation. And then on the other hand, it can pose significant risk to productivity if not properly secured. And then, on a lighter note, we say in our circle that if data is the new oil, then data breach is oil spillage, is the new oil spillage. And we know where there is oil spillage, something has to be done. If nothing was done to prevent it, something has to be done to clear it up. So as with oil spillage, we will be looking at the things that we need to do, to safeguard data, and as well, things to do once there is a breach, because at times it is inevitable. So as I've been introduced, my name is Oluwakbelumi, and for this purpose, you can see me as a data privacy and protection enthusiast, amongst other things. And on this webinar, I will be speaking to the slides. We have a robust slide, though not exhaustive, because data privacy and protection is an area that is expanding. It's not like it's just new to us, but we know that we're in the digital age, and on a daily basis, things are thrown up, and we have an ecosystem that is built around it, not just in Nigeria, but all over the world, just for us to see the need to safeguard this. So what are the learning outcomes for this webinar? So at the end of this lecture, it is expected and hoped that participants will be able to learn key data protection regulations, in particular the NDPA, that is the Nigeria Data Protection Act, and the GDPR, that is the General Data Protection Regulation. They'll be able to define data protection, privacy, and security, as well as other things that are attached to these concepts. Explain the relationship between data security and productivity. The major crux of today's webinar. Identify the differences between personal and sensitive data. Identify common data threats in the workplace. Understand best practices for protecting sensitive data. Apply security awareness principles in daily operations, and then to promote a culture of privacy and security compliance as a booster for productivity. So by way of introduction, I had mentioned in passing some of the things that, I'll be saying, but, my opening thoughts, and we would all agree with me that in today's digital age, organizations, not just organizations, even individuals, rely heavily on information systems, cloud services, mobile devices, and online communication tools to improve efficiency and productivity. Now, it's not even a thing of who is not using, is how are you using? How much are you using? Because there are so many things around us enhancing our productivity. So everybody is digital. I think we have about 2 generations now that we can call digital natives. So it's not a thing that is creeping on us. It is here, and then we want to look into how we can effectively navigate. So as I was saying, however, with the increase in the use of digital technologies, there's also an increase in, exposure to risks such as data breaches, cyber attacks, privacy violations, identity theft, and unauthorized access to sensitive information. This just came to mind to mention the moment I mentioned privacy violation. In 2005, I wrote my project in the university on information technology. My title was Information Technology and the Right to Privacy, a Critical Appraisal. And recently, I just went back to that project and I saw that, some of the concerns I raised then are what's the word now? Many of them, like have been occasioned, we've dealt with them, but they are nothing compared to even the things you can imagine. 2005, this is 2026. You can imagine the threats we are now facing, with each innovation, with each improvement, of any technology also comes the threat. So it's now important that we safeguard this very, very, important resource. So why does data protection matter? The underlying principle of data protection is safeguarding and protecting data from the different threats it faces from different quarters and under different circumstances. So it's not about whether it's here, we are using or not, is relevant. It is a part of us. It is king. They say data is king now. But then, so what do we do to safeguard, this very, very important asset that everybody, I can as well say, is commonplace to everybody, both individuals and organizations. And I say here that data in the wrong hands becomes a weapon as much as it's an important asset. In the wrong hands, it becomes a weapon and it can be used for various things like identity theft, fraudulent activities, hacking. So still on the importance of data protection, we'll be talking at this webinar, we will be looking at why data matters, why the need to safeguard it, why should organizations, invest resources, from trainings to investing in apps and what have you, mechanism to safeguard it. Why does it matter, right? So those are the things we'll be looking at this webinar. So data protection, continuing, data protection, privacy, and security are essential components of modern productivity and organizational success. If we say data is king, data is important, like we see the need why it must be protected. When employees and organizations understand how to protect information, assets, productivity improves through reduced downtime, trust building, compliance, and operational efficiency. Legal frameworks, because I mentioned that there is an ecosystem built around it. In fact, for me, one of the successes of this administration, as far as I'm concerned, is, the promulgation into law of this NDPA Act. Of course, most of us that are familiar with data protection, and everything that concerns it would notice that it has, it actually followed a thread. First it was the NDPR and all that went into it, and the successful promulgation in 2023, into the act, and we have it. It's active. There is a commission, that enforces its provisions, and we'll be looking at all of that in the course of this webinar. So first we have the NDPA, which is the Nigerian Data Protection Act of 2023, and it protects, data subjects. We'll look at what data subject means within the country and even outside the country. And then we have the GDPR, that is the General Data Protection Regulation, which is an EU regulation, although it has global coverage, but it's mainly for EU data subjects. So first, let's look at the NDPA 2023, the Nigerian Data Protection Act. So standards for how personal data must be handled in the country. It protects individuals' privacy and governs how organizations collect, use, store, and share personal information. This is like the major underlying matter, data, what is done with data. So we are looking at its collection, its use, its storage, and how it is shared. So the Act establishes the Nigerian Data Privacy Commission for the regulation of the processing of personal information. So we have the NDPC. So what are some of the provisions of the NDPA 2023? We are looking into awareness. So we need to understand some of these things, because now there are penalties for breaches and non-compliance. So it will do everyone some good to, familiarize with the provisions. And at this webinar, we'll look at some of the provisions of the NDPA. So we said the NDPA states the basis for processing data, and first is that it must be lawful, e.g. maybe for performance of a contract, it's a legal obligation like compliance with the law, like maybe when banks, ask for, information and all that. It's KYC and maybe AML, like NBA, we have the Anti-Money Laundering Act. So at times, yes, data is collected in compliance with the law or for vital interests like protecting life. Maybe, for instance, an accident scene and all of that, you're collecting data just to safeguard certain things, or maybe, for instance, terrorism and all of that. So another lawful basis would be for, protecting life, and then tax in public interest or official authority. There are some MDAs we work with, and it's necessary that data is, collected. And then one major thing in the NDPA is that there must be consent of the data subject. We'll look at what data subject means shortly. So the Act also gives rights to data subjects, like the right to access confirmation about whether their information is processed, its purpose, and the retention period. So what are the rights of data subjects under the NDPA? Data subjects can request rectification, that is correction or erasure of their data, their information. They have the right to object to certain processing. They have the right to request copies of their data in electronic form. This has to do with data portability. They have the right to withdraw consent and restrict processing. And then they also have the right to complain to the supervisory authority, which is the NDPC, about breaches. Still on key legal frameworks. So we've looked at the local legislation, and the thing about the NDPA and the GDPR is that both apply in Nigeria. Although the NDPA is aligned with the GDPR, right? But it's a local legislation. But then for anybody dealing with Nigerian subjects, both Nigerian data subjects, both legislations matter. So on the GDPR, it's a global legislation, although an EU law, it was promulgated to cover EU data subjects, but then it has a global reach, especially where businesses handle EU residents. We say it's a global village now, and then we see this playing out here. So it's not just about EU, but EU data subjects, and wherever they are residents, and another thing is that it is used as a global benchmark for privacy standards. Still on that, so what are some of the main features of the GDPR? Of course, lawful basis for processing too is very important. The GDPR requires a valid lawful basis for personal data processing. Consent also is important, and for the GDPR, under the GDPR, certain things about consent must be present. It must be freely given, it must be specific. If you're requiring data, it must be for a specific purpose. You can't just, have data just for having sake. There must be information about why it is required. It must be unambiguous. There are some, in time past, I've not come across such in recent times, but, there are some forms you're filling online, and there are some boxes that are already pre-checked. So, this is not, by the law, this is not allowed. You don't pre-check boxes. If you say consent must be unambiguous, then you don't check a box for me. Then it must be easy to withdraw at any time. And then, of course, contractual necessity, just as we have under the NDPA, and then in some instances, maybe legal obligation, maybe in official capacity, and all that. Still on the GDPR provisions, also gives right to data subjects, and these rights are powerful. The right to be informed about data collection and use. I'm sure the thing is all these data provisions, we see it playing out in daily life. So far you have some kind of engagement interface, with technology, in this digital age. At times you're filling a form and they tell you, oh, this site collects, information about so and so, this right does this and all that. We see it playing out all the time. So there is a right to be informed about data collection and use. There's a right of access to the personal data. There's right to rectification. There's right to erasure. Under the GDPR, it's called right to be forgotten. There's right to restrict processing. There's right to data portability, like I mentioned under the NDPA. There's right to object to certain processing, and there's rights related to automated decision-making and profiling. So consent and rights are very, very important. So as we delve further into this topic in this webinar, there are some concepts, there are some words that will be coming up. So we need to have an understanding of some of these words. So these terms, they tie directly into both the NDPA and GDPR frameworks, and they need to be clearly explained to understand data privacy and protection. First, we have the data subject. So this refers to a natural person whose personal data is processed, e.g. a customer, a client, an employee, or user. So as organizations, we have customers, we have clients. So the moment we are collecting their data, they become, data subjects, and we have to bear in mind the provisions of the law. We have the data controller, that is the person or organization that determines the purposes and means of processing personal data. So it can be telecoms work, company, it can be a hospital, it can be a law firm, it can be anything. Then we have data processor, that is the party that processes personal data on behalf of the controller. You have the larger body as the data controller, the organization, and then there is somebody, in the organization that actually handles this. And data protection itself, it refers to the process of safeguarding important information from corruption, from loss, from theft, or unauthorized access. And it involves policies, technologies, and procedures designed to ensure data remains confidential, accurate, and available when needed. Talking about data portability. Next is data privacy, still on conceptual definitions. What is data privacy? It concerns the proper handling, processing, storage, and use of personal or sensitive information. It ensures that individuals' personal data is collected and used in line with legal and ethical standards. I mentioned in my opening thoughts that data in the wrong hands becomes a weapon. Beyond names, beyond numbers, beyond addresses, becomes a weapon. And I'm sure many of us have either, experienced it or heard of someone who experienced it. Somebody gives you a call and says, oh, we're a member of so organization or so group. Are you aware of a meeting coming up by so time? Oh, okay. So I'm going to send you a code, and we've seen them happen many times and all of that, just to was that this is, I don't want to say present evil, but it's something around us. We without it, it's those who are even advanced. It's not a thing of the digital age is for the tech bros and the programmers and all the names we gave them, is now for everybody. It enhances our productivity. So it's a thing that concerns all of us. So still going on, I said here, it ensures that individuals' personal data is collected and used in line with legal and ethical standards. Examples include names, phone numbers, bank details, health records, employee records. Then what is data security? Data security refers to the protective measures used to prevent unauthorized access, cyber threats, and misuse of information systems. Examples include passwords. Passwords, go beyond just passwords. Passwords in the wrong hands become something that can be turned around and used against one. Encryption, firewalls, antivirus software, access control systems. So basically those things we use, as protective measures to safeguard data. Next, we have data protection officer. And this is very important. Under both the NDPA and the GDPR, certain organizations must appoint a data protection officer, especially public authorities and organizations whose core activities involve large-scale processing of special categories of data. I had to sit, the moment I started operating in this ecosystem, I had to sit and, I dubbed myself a DPO because I looked at how, certain information comes my way as a lawyer, my law firm. I deal with information, so I didn't need anybody to tell me. And then, of course, that's, informed my tightening certain things, so from this webinar, it is hope that everybody, we all know what we do. Everybody will go away knowing that, okay, this is an added responsibility, and this is something I must do to enhance my productivity, because now breaches are not just something that just happens and goes away. There is NDPC, and the breaches, when breaches are reported there, it attracts fines and some other things, as the commission would decide. So a DPO, what are the duties of a DPO? He or she monitors compliance with NDPA or the GDPR provisions, acts as a point of contact for authorities and data subjects, advises on data protection, impact assessments, and governance. So it's very important. I mentioned in passing, as I was talking about the DPO, I mentioned the DPIA. So data protection impact assessment is another concept we must familiarize ourselves with. And DPIAs are, what are they? They're required where processing is likely to result in high risk to the rights and freedoms of data subjects. They're called high risk processing. So it's important, at the beginning of a project, you do this assessment, that, oh, this is likely to occasion, and then the responsibility is to consult the relevant authority. For our own purposes here in Nigeria, the NDPC, when a DPI indicates potential risk, like flagging it. So not to take much of our time, these are just some of the things that we must know. And then, of course, are we talking about all data? Is it all data or certain data that we are in particular about? So in this regard, we're going to look at the difference between personal data and sensitive data. Because really, if we look at threat to data, most oftentimes it's in relation to sensitive data. So we'll try to do a differentiation between personal data and sensitive data here. So what is personal data? Personal data is any information relating to an identified or identifiable individual, e.g., name, address, IP address, and what have you. While sensitive personal data is a special high-risk subcategory requiring stricter protection. In fact, dealing with such, at times one needs special permission, from the NDPC, and most times it covers genetic, biometric, health, sexual orientation, political or religious data. It's not just name. Now I can have a list of names, but the moment I maybe put a heading, names of people living with HIV and all of that, and I release it to the public or release somebody's health records, it's not just data anymore. It's sensitive personal data, and this in particular are some of the concerns. So unauthorized disclosure of sensitive data poses higher risk of discrimination or harm from the other. First, personal data is broad. It includes any identifier, name, email address, phone number, and all of that, while sensitive data is a narrower set of data that requires extra security due to its intimate nature. So examples of personal data, we have name, address, phone number, email, date of birth, financial details, and online activity. At times, institutions would require it, KYC, and all of that. It's just that. Then to now know what sensitive data is, we have examples here like racial, ethnic, origin, political opinions, religious beliefs, trade union membership, generation, and anything that comes into that category. So what is the difference between personal data and sensitive data when it comes to legal requirements? So under the frameworks like the GDPR, processing sensitive data often requires stricter explicit opt-in consent and is subject to more stringent security requirements. That's just, that's one difference when it comes to, the legal requirements about processing or storing or sharing it. Then the risk level is another thing that differentiates. Misuse of personal data can lead to inconveniences. Yes, whereas misuse of sensitive personal data poses a high risk of discrimination, financial ruin, or severe personal harm. So this is another thing that differentiates one from the other, sensitive personal data. All right, so at this point, we'd like to inform all our participants that our members will receive free slides and recorded video of this webinar, while non-members receive free, the free training video. So if you are interested, please send a chat requesting for your free materials. And we need this data from you. We need your full names, we need your email, we need your phone number. And then if you want the certificate, it's an e-certificate, a soft copy of the certificate, you would have to, it attracts a fee of 5,000 naira. So please indicate and we would follow up with that. Okay, so still continuing with our webinar. When does personal data become sensitive? And like we said here, context matters. Data that is generally considered personal can become sensitive if it reveals sensitive information. For example, a name is standard personal data, but a list of names linked specifically to a treatment for a particular health condition turns the entire data set into sensitive personal data, like medical records or disease status exposed. I'd said that in passing, so it's not just, it goes beyond being just a name. The moment maybe we say list of those living with HIV, AIDS, and then we put a list of names down, and then in front we say yes, no, yes, no, it's not just names anymore. That's sensitive personal data. So another thing to also note, in this regard is cross-border transfer of personal data. I had mentioned it's digital age, it's global age. You could be somewhere in the rural area. If you have access to internet, you can transfer, information, you can transfer data to anywhere in the world. So the law also, envisages and, takes care of this particular situation, and it's called cross-border transfer of personal data. Both the NDP and the GDPR, have provisions regarding this. A data controller or processor shall not transfer or permit personal data to be transferred from Nigeria to another country. Same with the GDPR for EU data subjects. But there are exceptions. This is subject to law or binding corporate rules. You have a parent company operating somewhere and certain things are necessary. You have contractual clauses, nationals of different countries coming together to perform one contract, or maybe it's as a result of code of conduct requirement or certification mechanism that affords an adequate level of security and protection. So the exception here is allowed, but then there must be adequate level of security and protection. Then to allow this also, the purpose for the transfer must be recorded. And then the Commission has the power to make regulations and designate certain personal data that may be transferred or that are subject to certain restrictions. So it's very important to know this. Like I mentioned, we'll be seeing it, in the course of this lecture, the penalty, for non-compliance and all of that. So overall, there must be adequacy of protection. That's one thing about data. There is no restriction. Down to the crux of our discussion here. What is the link between data security and productivity? Data protection and security directly influence productivity, and that is in several ways. Once there is a breach, productivity is affected, at the first instance. Let's look at, reduced downtime. For instance, an organization, there is a cyber attack, such as ransomware, it can shut down systems and delay work, processes. We've had instances where, I work as as a lawyer, I work with many agencies, and of course we know that most things are now digitalized, and there are some days, at times more than a week, you're not able to do anything because there is, system downtime and all of that. And we know that that directly impacts on productivity. So we see the need why, data protection is important, because at the end of the day, it affects productivity. So there's reduced downtime, when certain things are put in place. Secure systems would also reduce interruptions, like when we have adequate security in our systems, it reduces all these interruptions. Next is increase employee confidence. When staff trust that systems are secure, they work more efficiently without fear of data loss. For instance, let's say a banker, that you're working with a secure system, that no incident will be occasioned, there is a fraud, and then you're facing liabilities, and you're seen as a suspect, and all those things we see occasioned in different organizations and all of that. Next is protection of organizational reputation. A data breach can damage customer trust and reduce business opportunities, because we've seen this happen oftentimes. In fact, just a mere news flash that may or may not even affect things. You see maybe stock prices dropping, you see a drop in sales, so many things, because people just believe, oh, this organization, they've lost their reputation. Oh, so this is what is happening. And I know a case in point. There's a particular online shopping app, they are being investigated for certain data breaches now. And, they've, would I say, their popularity, but no longer, it's no longer a rave, amongst everybody, everybody's shopping and all of that. And another one, something else was thrown up, though it has to do with health, but of course it has affected sales and all of that. So we see the link between all of this. It directly affects productivity. Next, we have regulatory compliance. Compliance with data protection laws prevents penalties and legal disputes that may disrupt productivity. Like we say now, not just beyond the tax. Sorry, I'm bringing tax, but we say, oh, era of compliance. It actually, it goes everywhere, because we also have the NDPA compliance, we have the anti-money laundering and all of that. So compliance across board is now making us see that compliance is not just something that, oh, we're doing, we're checking it, oh, it's a box we're checking, like, oh, we're compliant for 2024. It's a business strategy, because if, as a result of anything, we're not compliant in one area, it would affect productivity. So that's why it's important that on this end, talking about the data privacy and protection end, we must be compliant so that productivity is not affected. The examples include the Nigerian Data Protection Act. We'll look at the penalties, I think, towards the end. We'll look at some of the penalties. The GDPR too, there are penalties for, breaches. We have the ISO, standards too, there are penalties. So it's very important to bear this in mind. So I'd mentioned data security in passing, but as we delve more into this discussion, I would just like to highlight this in particular. So Section 39 of the NDPA deals with data security. And here, what is expected of data controllers and data processors is that they implement appropriate technical and organizational measures to ensure the security, integrity, and confidentiality of personal data in their possession under their control, including protection against accidental or unlawful destruction, loss, misuse, alteration, and unauthorized disclosure or access, taking certain things into account. And we have this under Section 39, subsection 1, A to E. Okay, moving on. What are some of the common threats to data privacy and security? We had mentioned phishing attacks, I think at the introduction. So phishing attacks, what are they? These are fraudulent emails or messages designed to steal login credentials. An example is a fake bank email requesting password verification. We see this happening again and again. In fact, I was saying recently that don't they even have a new format or something, like it's always the same thing. But of course, they are, hoping that people are not aware. And of course, is key. We have malware and viruses. And what are they? Malicious software that damage systems or steal data. Examples: Trojans, worms, spyware, ransomware, and all those in that category. Common threats continued. Weak passwords, simple passwords such as 1234556, password admin 123, using your bets, your birth date, wedding anniversary, your child's birthday, your pet's name, all those things. Those are weak passwords. So everybody must work at safeguarding their data. We have insider threats as well. Employees may intentionally or unintentionally expose confidential information. So it's important that, in safeguarding this, is not out of place to have our NDAs and, what would happen when such things are occasioned. Next is unsecured Wi-Fi networks. Public networks expose devices to interception. So as a policy, we must have certain things we do, like, we don't do organizations work outside or in public places, or we don't share networks, we don't share Wi-Fi, all of that. So these are some of the threats that can occasion data breach. Loss of devices like lost laptops, phones, or flash drives can lead to data leakage. So look at what would be needed in such situations. So what are some of the best practices for data protection and security? We'll still look at them, in some later slides, but just talking generally in response to some of the threats thrown up in earlier slides. Use of strong passwords. A strong password should contain, and we see that we have suggestions and recommendations from some apps and online platforms. When we interface with them, they won't tell you, this is a weak password, this is a strong password, this is suggested, and all of that. So here we are also suggesting use strong passwords, and recommendation is that a strong password should have uppercase letters, lowercase letters, numbers, symbols, at least 8 to 12 characters, a mix, right? So example, we have an example here like training 2026. Before some of these things can be guessed, it will take a whole lot. So there are no easy guesses here. Like when you put your own birthday, your wedding anniversary, your children's birthday, your pet name. Even for me, there's something I had to change before. Like I said, I started operating in this space so I wouldn't forget. I was using one password across board. And at a training like this, I saw the need to, change that because I wasn't safeguarding my data. So another best practice is to enable multi-factor authentication, MFA. This adds an extra layer of protection. Examples include OTP code, biometric fingerprints, authentication app. This OTP code has saved me many a times, especially when it comes to online transactions, financial transactions. So it's very important. Regular data backup is another best practice. Backup data using external hard drives, cloud storage, secure servers, and all of that. All this ensure recovery after system failure. So these are very effective. Update software regularly. System updates patch security vulnerabilities. I'd mentioned how in 2005 I had this concern as an undergraduate, and my project topic was on that. In my research, I found out that some countries then, as far back as then, they left their data protection laws open. So whenever there was a breach, so they would add that, they would add a provision to guard against that particular breach, on the heels of that breach. So the next day there's another breach, they add something like, and I think is a very welcome development, just keep updating not just software, even legal frameworks, regularly. The system updates, patch security vulnerabilities. This includes operating systems, antivirus software, business applications. All of this is important. Data breaches seem unrelenting, so we should also not be relenting in our updates and safeguarding measures. Next is to encrypt sensitive information. Encryption converts readable data. Authorized users can decrypt it, like you're sending a message, so it's only the person it is meant for that will be able to decrypt it. Next is access control, like provide data access only on a need-to-know basis. Examples include HR records only for HR staff, finance data only for finance officers. Very important. When it's restricted and then, you have situations where I know some organizations, the last person to use a particular thing or to access a particular thing, there's a record. So in case there is even a breach, you know where you start the investigation or you know where you start tracing from. So all these are very important considerations in data privacy, protection, and security. Next is to secure physical documents. It's digital age, but we've not done away totally with our papers. So security should not focus only on digital data. We have hard copy files, and this should be locked in cabinets. Of course, just as with what we have in digital, access must be controlled and then shredded when obsolete. We must have these policies in place, and we must, without anybody even, without oversight from any quarter, there are certain measures we should put in place to safeguard data. So what are some other best practice protection measures? Appoint DPOs. We had mentioned who DPOs are, conduct DPIAs. We know what DPIAs are. Establish breach reporting protocols, conduct data mapping, and this is creating data element relationships between different systems to ensure data is converted accurately, consistently, and securely, and usable across different systems. So not that you just keep transferring from one system to the other and then data is all over the place, right? So what does this do? It assists in tracking sensitive data for regulations like GDPR, then register with the NDPC. Adopt privacy by design, embed data protection into systems and processes from the development stage. Very important. Document transfers, maintain records justifying the legal basis for each cross-border transfer. So next, we're looking at privacy awareness in the workplace. Employees must be aware of their responsibilities in handling data, right? I would say everybody, even though you have your designated DPO, everybody must see this as, their responsibility. There must be key awareness points, do not share passwords, lock computer screens when away, avoid unauthorized software installation, verify email senders before opening attachments, avoid discussing confidential information publicly. Then, still going on, organizations would also establish data protection policy. Like there should be a formal policy guiding data handling procedures. There should be constant employee training programs, regular awareness workshops and seminars. Then incident response plan. There should be a clear procedure for responding to breaches. There should be periodic security audits, like, I don't know how true, but these are things we see in films, where you see, is this CIA now or FBI, they will just ask certain, key personnel that in the last 1 or 3 months, have you shared sensitive information with anyone and all of that, or those kind of information that they say, if I tell you, I have to kill you, blah, 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 so it's important to have periodic security audit, regular assessment of vulnerabilities, where are we weak, where are we strong, update privacy policies, secure valid consent, update third-party agreements, because at times the data comes to you, you have to share with third parties. So it's good to have all this in place. Engage a local partner, DPCO, especially for cross-border transfers. This is a best practice, especially in situations where we transfer information across border. leverage DPR alignment. Our NDPA is totally aligned with the GDPR. So it's good to familiarize ourselves with, the provisions of both laws. So still a reminder, our members, please note that you receive the free slides and recorded video, while non-members receive free training video. So if you're interested, please send a chat requesting for your free materials. And what we require is your full name, email address, your phone number. And if you want the certificate, please it's at a cost, and that is 5,000 naira only. Going on, so impact on productivity. What is the impact? All that has been said, what is the impact on productivity? Here we say robust data protection boosts productivity by minimizing operational downtime. We have said that it streamlines data management, builds stakeholder trust, which reduces the time spent managing crises and repairing reputations. So implementing proactive measures like automated backups, secure access controls, and regular employee training ensures that workflows remain uninterrupted and employees can focus on strategic tasks. So how does this boost productivity? We had mentioned this, but of course, just emphasis is not out of order. It minimizes downtime and disruptions like regular backups and disaster recovery. Implementing automated backup solutions ensures that in the event of a cyber attack or system failure, data can be restored rapidly, minimizing downtime. Proactive threat detection using AI-driven threat detection and monitoring tools. This is a welcome development. AI is a tool and it will do us some good to use it to enhance our productivity. So in this regard, data loss prevention using AI, which identifies vulnerabilities and stops attacks before they disrupt operations. Prevention, they say, is prevention is better because cure is not guaranteed. Once the information is out there, it gets into the wrong hands. What do you do? So it's best to prevent than to do damage control. Streamlining operations and data management. Centralized data management using tools like copy data management reduces the number of data copies, which cuts down on storage costs, improves data consistency, and accelerates development life cycles. Data classification, organizing data based on sensitivity levels ensures that IT teams spend less time securing non-critical data and focus resources on protecting high-value information. Very important. We're talking about productivity here. So time is not wasted just sorting all sorts of data. We know which one is critical, we know which one is sensitive, and then we go to work armed with that. Automated compliance, advanced data protection solutions automate regulatory compliance tasks, saving significant time and effort for legal and IT teams. Next is enhancing employee efficiency and security. Especially now that we have most remote work from home, work from anywhere, and all of that. So it's important to secure, remote work frameworks like implementing bring your own device, BYOD policies, virtual private networks, and multi-factor authentication. Like an employee has to work remotely, it's not within the organization. So certain measures must also be put in place, all in a bid to protect data. So with all this in place, it allows remote workers to access data securely without compromising company security. Then zero trust access is not a thing of, oh, I trust my supervisor and all of that. Restricting data access to only what is necessary for an employee's role. Least privilege access reduces the risk of internal threats and prevents unauthorized access to critical systems. Then continuous training is very important. Regularly training employees on how to identify phishing and secure data prevents human error, which is a leading cause of productivity killing breaches. Building trust accelerate growth. Under this, we have demonstrate compliance, adhering to regulations like GDPR or NDPA, and openly communicating these practices enhances brand reputation, attracting partners and clients who prioritize secure, reliable vendors. Privacy by design, integrating data protection into the development of new products ensures that security is not a bottleneck later, allowing faster, secure, and confident product launches. So we're reminded again, members are going to get the free slides and the recorded videos, while non-members receive just the training video. So if you're interested, please send a chat requesting for your free materials. And what we need for this is your full name, your email address, your phone number, and if you're interested in the certificate, a token of 5,000 Naira. Okay, so we've had this brought to us on the platform of CeProd. So for those who are probably joining us for the first time, at a training like this, you're hearing of CeProd for the first time, someone invited you to this webinar. Now at this point, we want to take some time to intimate you about the role of CeProd in your productivity. We have this productivity series, prosperity through productivity webinars monthly, and this is one of such, the April edition. So to become a member is like giving you teasers of what we enjoy, those of us on the inside. So to become a member, what you need to know. CeProd became a legal entity on 11th December 2008, and our registration number with the Corporate Affairs Commission is RC 30518. The Center for Public Service Productivity and Development. It was registered as a non-governmental. We can say that it's a world-class productivity center. All sectors of the African economy calls for concerted efforts and measures to reverse the declining trends in the productivity of third world economies, hence the intervention of CeProd. There is an alarming decline in productivity in Africa's national economy, especially in the public sector. So this has led to a decline in quality of life in most African countries. Despite the huge budgetary allocations in most African countries, the undeveloped economy syndrome still persists. There are manufacturing plants that produce below capacity, uncompetitive goods and services, millions of public sector workforce that are mostly underutilized, unproductive, and poorly remunerated. This has challenged governments in most African countries and their various labor and productivity ministries and parastatals to study, research, promote, and institutionalize productivity culture. However, the road has defied solution despite laudable efforts and huge allocations. So when you become a member to join us in curbing this, should I say, menace, these are some of the benefits you would enjoy. We show our members the best productivity principles, values, standards, and practices as a crucial factor in performance of their organizations and businesses. Our members understand that increasing personal productivity raises their living standards and enhances national productivity. I can tell you for a fact. So these are some of our members at their induction. As our members' productivity improves, the more their real income improves, their ability to purchase goods and services, enjoy leisure, improve housing and education, and contribute to social and environmental impact will increase. Increasing our members' productivity also helps their businesses to be more profitable, from personal productivity to professional productivity. Perhaps the main benefit of becoming a member of Center for Productivity as an associate ACP, a member MCP, or a fellow FCP is the provision of recognition that denotes a high level of professional. Still on the benefits, you get a monthly informed about emerging issues in the profession. Still on benefits, so a unique opportunity for self-development. Members have frequent opportunities to exchange ideas with experienced professionals so as to update and expand their skills. There is an ongoing program that involves productivity coaching purely to assist members in understanding the main determinants or drivers of productivity growth. Certain factors are critical for determining productivity growth. So when you become a member, still on the benefits, you get listed in online CeProd membership directory, international networking amongst business leaders and professionals. You have access to our digital library that has thousands of books and some of our testimonials. We have one from Barrister Mrs. Ann Atta, Fellow Center for Productivity. Awards. The training has taught me how to pay more attention to developing and training my staff and create a conducive work environment. She's a retired director of the Federal Civil Service Commission. Also, another testimonial from Professor Balogun Oladele Abiodun, Fellow Center for Productivity, is Professor Redeemers University. He says, it has shaped my skills, broadened my horizon, and improved the level of my professionalism. So CeProd creates productivity awareness through various ways: direct productivity awareness campaign through email, free open webinar, free productivity courses, free skills acquisition for youth, members word of mouth campaign, publications in national and international newspapers. And then below are some of our awareness campaign in national and international publications. You can look at them. We have a publication, the Nigerian Tribune, 29 July 2025. We have another on leadership crisis, experts call for impact to change, Vanguard newspaper, July 30th, 2025. One that talks about our international qualification assessment training accreditation, Vanguard newspaper, January 7th, 2025. So for more, you can go to our website to learn about CeProd. That is www.centerforproductivity.org/CeProd, productivity, advocacy, and news. So you see more about us. Here are some members at their induction fellowship. I hope I see mine to show you. Just kidding. All right, so our membership program, what does it entail? The program will cover the following topics, among others: the CeProd Code of Ethical Conduct for Productivity Professionals, the role of CeProd in organizational productivity development, how to improve your staff productivity, productive strategies for flexible working options and hours, setting realistic productive standards and targets, setting milestones for achieving said growth, organization's knowledge management. The workshop will cover the following topics also, amongst others: application of technology in growth hacking, winning with digital business marketing, how to manage cash flow and liquidity, best practices for personal productivity development, building efficient and productive organizations post-COVID-19 era, how to negotiate a deal with difficult suppliers, succession planning. CeProd is a recognized international organization. Categories of membership include associate member, and fellow of CeProd. No honorary membership. No honorary membership. Lectures and interaction on completion of lectures before award. Online options of lectures and interaction available. Free books worth over $1,000 on productivity given to all members. Regular membership interaction through virtual meetings. Cooperating with the university to run MSc, MBA, and PhD in productivity management at a reduced rate for members. Attendance of the monthly free lectures is a tip of the iceberg, like you are experiencing today. So to join us, you can send your email to info@centerforproductivity.org, or you send a message to this WhatsApp number, +334 80231 94131. And of course, you can access our website to know more about us on www.centerforproductivity.org. Okay, So going on, in conclusion, data goes beyond the names and details that are collected, processed, and stored. They represent vital information about the data subject, and dealing with data in the wrong way is an infringement of the rights and freedoms of individuals enshrined in the Constitution of Nigeria and in similar legislations globally. Everyone dealing with data must act with utmost good faith and ensure that data collected is handled with care and used for the purposes for which they were collected. This will overall impact positively on productivity, both personally and professionally. So generally, when best practices are implemented, organizations benefit from faster workflow, like we've said severally in this webinar, reduced cyber risk, better customer trust, higher staff efficiency, legal compliance. For the NDPC, the Nigeria Data Protection Commission, the NDPA 2023 enforced by the NDPC is a strict GDPR-aligned law, and non-compliance can lead to fines of up to 2% of annual gross revenue or 10 million naira. In this era of compliance, nobody wants to lose anything. That's why I said compliance is beyond a check. It's business strategy. If you're paying, this much in penalty, I would say what is left. So it's best that we are all compliant to enhance our productivity. And of course, it ensures business continuity. So lastly, I'll say to us all that by treating data protection as a strategic enabler rather than just a compliance cost, organizations can create a more secure, efficient, and productive environment. Thank you so much for your attention. We've come to the end of the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ma.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you for your
For
contribution.
the insightful
The discussion is very apt.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for your attention.
Is Dr. Dewale still there?
Yeah, appreciate your presentation. So, Dr. Joshua, you're on board. Okay, all right. So, thank you very much. Right now, we'll go on question and answer session.
Are you hearing me?
If you have a question you would like to ask, please just indicate by raising your hand. So we'll call you, so we're able to, she'll be able to attend to your question. All right. So thank you. Please use the electronic hand rate to be able to call you. Thank you.
So thank you, everybody. I want to thank the lecturer for the wonderful, impactful lecture. And I believe everybody must have seen the need that when you come for a lecture or a training, the first thing is to detrain yourself. Then you unlearn and you learn. It will give you the opportunity of seeing the ramification of whatever lecture you have come across. This is a wonderful one that cuts across all the profession. And I believe that you must have gained one thing or the other. So at this time, if you have questions, we are on. So the head of admin, please let me know those people who are raising up their hands so that we can take them. Mr. Basi?
Right. Yes, I'm with you. All right. Well noted, yes. Okay, we have with us Francisca Eyo. Please, go ahead with your question.
Good morning. I'm
Yes, good morning.
I am grateful for this wonderful lecture. I must say it's an opportunity to learn, like you said, and gain more insight on things that are happening around us. But my question is more in line with the certifications and how, if one wants to be a member, how can one be, like join the organization, and also the certificates for this. I didn't really get that part. I want to know, would a message be sent to our mail for us to be able to register to get the certificate, or what is the plan concerning that? And also, how would somebody become a member if the person is interested in joining the organization? Thank you.
Any other question that we can handle about 3 together?
Okay, Dr. Blessing, okay, please go ahead with your question. Dr. Blessing, you can unmute your mic.
Thank you very much. Our able presenter, we thank our president too with the team, always giving us something that will live on and pass on to the next generation. I'll just bias on the lecture. I just want to say something and maybe possible question too. The lecture is very important, not just for organization, but even for individuals, even for families. And the lecture was very detailed, even down to internet, down to passing information wrongly, down to even communication, everything. I had experience of giving wrong information and it landed me into trouble. So it's not just about it's a productivity begins from me, from the individual. Then it reflects to the family, reflects to the society. Individual begins the productivity. So thank you very much. My concern is the area of authenticity in regards to the banking sector. They have all the data and whatever it takes, but sometimes somebody's ATM is stolen, the machines or whatever will not snap the person. Either the person has already finished stealing the money and is going, it will snap, and you find it difficult. I've never heard where you say a particular bank is able to catch somebody. The picture was very clear. And that if not, this stealing of money for the ATM machine would have reduced if people were able to catch, the machine is able to capture them, their addressing, the time they entered, what they did as they were going, it will be able to trace. That is where I'm talking about authenticity of some of these our digital gadgets in regard to data, and the area of in education too. How do we bring authenticity of this data in educational aspect, in the area of research? Some lecturers and teachers are making good effort. I remember my one time, the lecturer would say, bring your questionnaire. If you say you carry this research and you're able to carry out this social number of data, you're able to collect your data, let me see your instruments. Let me see your questionnaire. That's where you say that many students have nothing to offer. Some will sit in the library there and are fabricating data. I say, I'm going out to schools to give people. They say, sister, where are you going? You're wasting money and time. Just sit down there and just write anything. Because the data is for making vital information that affect life, affect society, affect generation yet unborn. And once the data is not testify, is not correct, the information or whatever conclusion we have arrived at, whether in the academic level or in the productive level, or any aspect of life, it runs the genuineness and the cure of what we are searching for. Is there anybody who can bring authenticity in this area? Thank you very much.
Question number 3.
All right, thank you, Dr. Blessing. So, okay, Mr. Evans John, please ask your question.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for this session. My question is more on the legality of retaining data, because I have witnessed 1 or 2 occasions where, as a user of mostly on the website, you ask for your data to be removed, and then you're being told that they have to retain some of your data for a particular period. But then I believe the policy, the GDPR policy, permit that users are permitted to request a removal of their data from any platform. So my concern is, isn't there like a conflict of interest in those kind of systems? Because if I have the GDP permits me to request that my data should be removed within, a system and then a request for my data being completely removed? Why will some platform still hold on to my data? So that's my question. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I'll call on the presenter to please answer the question. The first one has to do with where you have mentioned it before, but reiteration of the membership. Then the banking sector, especially the ATM machine, the need to improve on it, and also delay in removal of data. So over to you, Ma.
Right. Thank you, Doctor. Okay, so I'll start from the third question. So in the course of my presentation, I had mentioned that there is an ecosystem built around it, not just a legal framework. We have the NDPA, we have the GDPR. So for the NDPA, as a Nigerian, I believe you're resident in Nigeria, you can go to the NDPC to report. You have the right to ask that your data be deleted. I can understand where, okay, for me now, you mentioned conflict of interest. Like for lawyers now, we can keep information for a certain number of years. But then, of course, I had mentioned personal data, sensitive data. It now depends on you. I said everybody should dub themselves DPOs. So for instance, let me use what happens in our firm. So like I said, most services are digitalized now. Like CSC services, for instance, you have clients have to send in their IDs and soft, copies of their signatures, e-signatures. So for me, the moment I have registered the company, I just keep it, because at times you finish registering a company and then there is a query. They can say maybe, oh, the signature is not clear or something. I keep it. The moment the certificate is issued, I delete the signature. It's something nobody told me and all of that, but I just know that I don't need this. What if one day somebody, maybe the police, stops me, searches my laptop and sees different signatures. So for me, that's just an extra thing. And got so good, I think about some months ago, a client called me. We needed to do some corporate mutations on a company I'd registered for them. And some of his shareholders, I can't remember what the excuse he gave, but he was saying that to lay hands on them. I think one was away on Hajj and all that to get the signatures. And if do I still have those signatures? I said no, I don't keep such. And he was, I won't say he was angry, but was like, oh, but why now? He had sent it to me. I said, you sent it to me and I'd used it for the purposes, so I don't have any reason to keep it. So we must go that extra length, to as individuals. But then, of course, like I said, you have a right to, if the client doesn't even ask, it's not at the instance of the client to tell. Some will tell you that this is my signature, I'm sending over. I tell them, trust me, the moment I'm done with your work, I'm deleting it. Some, have concerns. Some don't even bother. Like this client, I expected that I would still have it after months of, registering. But if you have a situation where you have some concerns and you have requested that your data be deleted, you can make a report to the NDPC, the Nigerian Data Protection Commission. That's for, the third question. You can make a report. And then, for all of us we have that responsibility, to even beyond ourselves. I've been to a business center before. I saw somebody's current certificate. It was somebody came in and wanted to draft something and it was given to the person, right, to write. And I saw it. I said, no, you don't do this. This is someone's current certificate. You ought to have destroyed this. And they were wondering. I said, look, I know what I'm doing, but this has to be destroyed. I said, is the person? I said, no, it was someone that came to do photocopy, but this is like, this instance where it wasn't clear. I said, you should have destroyed it. And I ensured that they destroyed it. So even beyond me, not to now talk of me. So if you have a situation where you've requested that, you wanted to enforce your right to, for your data to be raised and it's not done, you can report to the NDPC. So that is that for the third question. So for the second question about the bankers, I would direct it to Dr. Egbutu, but my own take on that is there's still that personal, that personal responsibility. In fact, for me personally, I think sometime last year, I couldn't find one of my ATM cards. And I was trying to just recollect where I used it last and all that. When I couldn't, I went on my phone and deactivated it myself. I know at times, one may not have access. Like for instance, somebody who was probably robbed, your phone and your card, were taken, and I understand those concerns. But for me, I still take it to personal responsibility. Although I'm going to direct it to Dr. Odewale, Dr. Chris Ebu, in the financial space, what can be done? Like, how do we hold the banks accountable? But for me, I'll still say there's still that personal responsibility. It's my money, so much more than the bank. I would go that extra mile. So I always interface with my apps, bank apps, and I look at all those things that I can even do remotely. Before I can't remember the last time I went to the banking hall. Everything I do on my app. So like, as in interface with your app, like there's no payment I can do that would go without OTP and all of those things. So to an extent, I have some comfort, but right. So I don't know what Dr. Chris Ebu's take will be on that, for the bankers or anybody on the platform that can help us. I'm just a lawyer. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I think I'll handle the number one question concerning membership.
Membership, okay.
The membership, if you go to our website, as it has been said, you will see what to do. And what to do is that you apply, or somebody can recommend you. And after recommendation, you will send your CV, and they will consider your CV and give you, after the payment of the necessary amount, they will give you the lecture notes to study, because we don't give honorary membership, whether fellowship or membership or associate membership. You have to go through, and that is why we call certification as a productivity professional. And when you have gone through, you have an interaction to know how you are able to comprehend, how you are able to understand. And it is when you have gone through that, not only you, it's a kind of class. It can either be visual or physical. And it is after you have passed through that you will now be given the opportunity to be invested. At least you have an investiture. Unfortunately, the members of the council will approve. And after the approval, that's when you have access to all the other logistics that have been mentioned, like $1,000 worth of books, e-books. And not only that, you have opportunity of having workshop with people of like minds, because it's not a matter of being an engineer meeting with engineers alone, or agriculturist meeting with agriculturists alone, or a legal luminary meeting with legal people. You see the person who has made this presentation. He's a lawyer. She's a lawyer, and yet all of us benefited because we thought we know. And like they say ignoramus is when people don't know, they think they know, and they don't want to know. But this time, everybody was interested, and we are able to see that there are some places that we are taking things for granted. There are places where we think, it doesn't matter, and it has realigned our thoughts towards reality. So when you have already gone through that, then you are prima facie qualified to be a member, depending upon the status of the membership. So I believe that one has answered your question. If there's any other question, you can go to the website and you can ask questions. The people in admin will advise you. But if there's anything, like I said, you just go to our website and we are all there to answer your question. On the issue of the banks, you see, some of the time, the people who are in a profession do not see the errors that are within the profession, because it's like a kind of circular storm. They can't go beyond. But the answers will come from outside, just like what you were saying, that the people should have installed cameras within the ATM. That is, if they do, it doesn't mean that they are trying to capture that everybody is a fool or is a thief or whatever. But when they do, it will help them to know the right way to go. Because I know a particular bank that they are so security conscious to the level that you cannot screenshot your own interaction with them. And that is a way out, because even if somebody stole your phone or whatever, they cannot get that information. And not only that, at any time you are dealing with their customer care, you cannot deal with them with somebody by your side. If you say, even when you don't understand the language, they will tell you, press this, press that. You see, those are the innovations that will reduce theft or hacking or whatever. But you see, like we said, there's always the need for people to interact with non-professionals, because those are the people who are having their shoes pinching them, and they'll be in a position to give an advice on what they think should be done. And just like the lecturer has said, we cannot depend on others. We should always start with ourselves, assuming you are the one in that shoe. And one thing I found out with many organizations, whether the communications or whatever, when you deal with them directly on their email, you get better results. Because when you make a call, you may be calling the person that is networking with those people who are causing the problem. But when it is an email, I don't know what they do to their email. Maybe there are some people who are monitoring it. They will give you answer. In fact, there was a time I contacted one communication people, and they told me that, oh, that they have checked my site. There's no problem with my site. I said, look, you don't tell me there's no problem with my location. I'm telling you I have problem. Other people will listen to customers and do what is right. You know what? They deleted the link and now started behaving normally by asking me for my location, when I experienced it, and so on. So just like the lecturer said, you take the bull by the horn by yourself. And then the people will know that, look, it's not everybody that is living in the village that is a villager. Thank you very much. So, admin, is there any other? Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the doctor and presenter. I'm grateful.
Okay. In addition
Hello?
to, yeah,
Hello, I have one question.
No, please allow the admin to add something.
It's all right.
Okay.
Thank you,
In
ma'am.
addition to how to become a member, I've dropped the WhatsApp link, WhatsApp number. You can contact the program officer, Nelson Bassi. So he will guide you on how to become a member. On the 10th of this month, we'll be having the membership workshop. So you can contact them. He will definitely give you the process on how to become a member. So I know the first process is to send your profile for screening by the membership committee. Afterwards, you fill the application form, make payments, the course materials will be sent to you, and then with the Zoom link for you to join the workshop. Afterwards, you'll be informed the date for the membership induction. You are now a member, so it's as easy as that. All right, so we're going to take the next batch of question. We have with us Mr. Collins. Please, you can go ahead with your question. You can mute your mic. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I wish everybody Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, thank you. Good afternoon. I wish everybody a very happy happy Easter from here. And I will say that I'm a métier of Dr. Odewale, who has been my boss for several years now, and he's still my boss. I want to thank him for his mentorship. I'm presently a research fellow in Student University of Life Science here after my PhD, and I also work in NIFO. As regards this matter of data privacy, something that is very important. For instance, here in Estonia, which happens to be one of the leading countries in digital technology space, I could see some lapses in the Nigerian sector. For instance, somebody depositing money in a bank, for instance, you save some money and suddenly they will just remove some millions of money from your account, and then you begin to go to court to ask the bank what happens to my money. Ahead of someone who complained that about 50 million naira was taken away from his first bank account, just like that. So there is no trace, things like that. I wouldn't know if there are ways that this thing can be curbed. For instance, here in Estonia, we have what we call cryptographic signatures, where you can't just, go into somebody's account. They have this card that you use, and that card is cryptographically linked. Nobody can break it because it's mathematics. And so you put your card, you get your PIN. That card is your ID, just like Nigerian national ID, but it has everything about your bank account. Everything is inside, and you have your PIN. And the PIN is inside the card. It's not something you can just create. So I will advise maybe if there's any way Nigeria is working towards that technology so that people cannot just be, defrauded and all those things. And this platform is a very good one, and I'll be grateful to hear more comments from here. And also for me, I think I also have this technology I have here, which maybe I will share with Dr. Dewale, that ensures that you cannot just formulate data. Once it is signed, nobody can alter it. Maybe I will share with Dr. Dewale after this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right, thank you so much. We have with us Sylvia Stardom. Please go ahead with your question.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much. Okay, my question is this way. If I want to become a member now, how much, do you have like an amount we pay like for membership to become a member, and do you have like an amount you pay yearly to renew your membership? Like how much? Because some of us are we are students. And another thing again, for the training, do we have to pay as members? And if we are paying, what's the price range? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, I can handle that question. So since there is no other person hand raised here, all right, to become the membership, we have different categories, 3 categories. We have the fellow, we have the full member, and we have associates. And each of these, their participation fee for the membership workshop are different. For that of fellow, the participation fee is 249,500. For member, it's 199,500. While for associate member is 149,500. For the annual subscription, it's you're going to pay 20,000 naira as a fellow, 15,000 naira as a full member, and 10,000 naira as an associate member. So, but the first process to become a member is to send your CV or resume for screening. So the committee will determine which of these membership categories you are qualified to belong. It is based on your criteria, your pro CV rather, that we can determine that. So thank you very much.
So if
All right.
if there's no other person wishing to ask question, I will appreciate. Well, once more, I want to thank the presenter for a well-loaded presentation.
Hello?
Hello?
You say I should be waiting.
Oh,
Permanent
sorry.
Secretary Office of Head of Service, Borno State.
Okay, ma. We didn't see your hand raised, so we didn't notice that. So please go ahead with your question, ma.
Thank you. Good morning, all. I missed better part of the presentation. So I just want to know whether you can share the presentation with us, either through our email or any other means. That is my concern. Thank you.
Okay, ma. Yes, the materials will be shared to you. You are a member of the institute, so you're going to get the
Yes,
recorded
I'm
video.
fellow of the
Yes, I know.
institute.
You are a fellow of the institute. You're going to get the recorded video and the course material sent to your email and your WhatsApp. I'll send that as soon as we conclude the meeting. Thank you. Yes,
And thank you for our presenter. Thank you.
Dr. Blessing, please go ahead with your question. Okay, do you want to ask question because we saw your hand raised now?
Sorry, thanks for this opportunity. I'm taking time. I'll be brief. Somebody asked question about is it data formulation or what? There's somebody that asked a question about data formulation. I just wanted to say, I think this workshop is very, very important. And if there's any way it can be stepped down to schools, particularly the tertiary institution, where they are trained and they practice data collection and data processing. Let them know the importance. It's not just about academics. Data is king, as the presenter said. It's also life, because important decisions are made that affect life and generation yet unborn. So it's not just about academics, it's more than academics. So awareness creating should continue no matter how little we can, anywhere we find ourselves, the importance of giving accurate data at the appropriate time and to be used, as the president said, for purpose for which it's used, for future and for children yet unborn. Thank you.
Thank you, ma.
Thank you so much, Dr. Blessing.
Thank you so much, ma.
Admin, is there any other hand up?
No other hand. So
okay.
Okay, I think before Professor Osiemi was raising up hand. Osiemi, are you still interested in making comment? Professor Osiemi? Okay, maybe he's no more here. Okay, so Dr. Dewala, I can make some comment, isn't it?
Okay, sir.
Yes.
We
So fine.
appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks a lot, the presenter, Barrister Imam Newsom. We are knowing that we can be fined up to 2% of our total revenue. And that is very expository, because if we are to pay 2% of our annual revenue, it will really impact on any organization. So we have to take this lecture very serious. That is one. So we also appreciate our governing council members who made our time to be here, including Professor Miriam Abudu, who is here present, Dr. Kele Ebel, Adiola Oloyede, Engineer Soles Akande, and Joshua Adewale himself, Dr. Joshua Adewale himself, and Imam Newsom. So this shows how we take serious knowledge sharing in CeProd, because we believe that the more knowledge we have, the more we can pass it down to our organization, to our office, and to our organization. And that will grow our income. That will also make us to be more productive. So let us continue to attend such lectures, which comes in diverse form. When we put up this topic, we didn't know that many people will be interested. So I really appreciate more than 80 people who attended, leaving the rest they could have been doing, as today is public holiday. Even if you don't have anything to do, some will be watching TV or sleeping, but we find it convenient to be here to share knowledge. We appreciate all. Thanks a lot.
The speaker is Dr. Chris Ebu, who is the coordinator of the organization. I want to thank him for making my work very light and easy and cutting off time by introducing all the members of the council that are here present. And I want to thank all those who joined from various places outside and within Nigeria to ensure that we have a robust presentation and interaction. All I want to appeal is that whenever we have this kind of information, we should not keep it to ourselves. We should give to others. Because one of our governors in those days said that if education is expensive, try ignorance. What you know. What others don't know, they don't know. But until all of us are aware, we cannot interact on the same platform. So please, whenever you get this information, try as much as possible to spread it to others. Even if it is just 1 hour before. Because some of the time, that 1 hour means so much. Once more, I want to thank the presenter, Madam Oluwapelumi. So I know it must have taken you a lot of time and reasoning and everything to make this wonderful presentation. We really appreciate you, and we pray that your organization will continue to increase and multiply by interacting with others in a way that will be impactful. And I want to thank everybody that has come here, that it's not just a matter of hearing and listening, but that we should be able to put it into practice in our lives and in our various organizations so that life will be easy for everyone. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you, everyone.
So much,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dewale.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Sule.
Hello,
How are you,
Ede.
sir? Yes, doctor.
Dr. Chris, thank you, Daddy. I like
I
your
am on the
cap.
background.
Thank you, and bye, everyone.
Dr. Chris, I like your cap, Daddy. Have a nice
Oh,
day.
that's a lot. That's a lot.
Doctor refused to buy for all of us now. He's just wearing it.
It's hard to
Buy for
get
all of
it
us.
after you have bought it. That's the thing.
I'm looking very young, like looking on that 15, Baba. Bye.